beginning next week. It said, I'm an Islamophobe.
Containing dangerous Muslims. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo.
It's a frightening thought. Islamic terrorist training camps right here in America in our backyards.
So we made it through the holidays without a terrorist attack, but it doesn't mean we can ever let our guard down.
No Muslim students coming here with visas. No more mosques being built here until you stand up and denounce what's happened in the name of your prophet.
And welcome back to Hannity. We are witnessing Muslims.
America is known throughout the world for waging a war on terror, and Islam has become the face of that terror. Muslims are seen as dangerous, so they're stopped, searched, and interrogated in airports, when they're driving, and any other situation they could possibly pose a threat. There are almost 2 billion Muslims in the world, but American media only depicts radical groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, claiming they represent all of Islam. It is perpetuated that all Muslims are murderers and belong to extremist groups, when in reality Muslims don't believe the actions of these extremist groups follow the pillars of Islam. Even in the liberal Happy Valley bubble that we live in, Islamophobia exists, and there are many misconceptions about Islam. Annabella and I decided it was time to understand why this stigma exists around Islam and why this racism is so widely accepted in America and in the media. We asked students and teachers at Northampton High School some questions to gain insight to their understanding of Islam and Islamophobia.
Spurred by some of the cultural fears that we see from the residual effects of 9/11?
Yes, definitely, especially after 9/11.
9/11? After 9/11, our global enemy became Islamic-based terrorism.
Yeah, actually, one time I was in Boston, and there was this woman who was a Muslim, and these people, this family, this little kid pointed her out, and she was like, "Mommy, is this person a bad person?" And I kind of couldn't believe that, but it was a little kid too. It was like a 6-year-old.
Yes, I've seen examples of Islamophobia in my life.
Can you give an example?
Mostly when people talk about Palestine and the Middle East, I hear them use expressions like terrorism when they're talking about Muslims.
I think I've seen Islamophobia mostly on like the internet and just like racist comments on like Facebook and stuff like that.
Islamophobia not only exists in the news and in our day-to-day lives, but it is also fed to us by the entertainment industry.
Call of Duty, the video game. In Call of Duty 4, I don't know what number it was, one of the places that you go is Karachi, which is a major city in Pakistan. And all the street signs in Karachi are spelled using Arabic. And they don't speak Arabic in Pakistan, they speak Urdu. And so he's playing this video game and he's like, this is just wrong. And it's like, of all the technical fine details that they put into this game, are there sideburns even on the character, Is the lighting just right in the shot? They didn't even bother to Google what language they speak in Pakistan. Because that's not important to them. Because to the game developers, it's all the same. And to me, that's the biggest tragedy of our understanding of that region, is to deny the diversity that it exists.
Well, this thing is worthless, like my Palestinian alarm clock. Allahu Akbar! Ground Zero. So this is where the first guy got AIDS.
Peter, this is the site of the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Oh, so Saddam Hussein did this?
No.
The Iraqi army?
No.
Some guys from Iraq?
No.
That one lady who visited Iraq that one time?
No, Peter, Iraq had nothing to do with this. It was a bunch of Saudi Arabians, Lebanese, and Egyptians financed by a Saudi Arabian guy living in Afghanistan and sheltered by Pakistanis.
So you're saying we need to invade Iran?
No. Sorry, I'm ignorant.
I do not know what a jihadist is, unless it's like a martyr or something.
No, I do not.
I have no idea.
Sounds familiar.
No.
I do know what ISIS is. It is what we consider a terrorist group. It's the Islamic State.
ISIS is a political organization in Iraq and Syria.
Yes, it's the scariest terrorist group of the 21st century, and it's controlling like most of the Middle East at this point and spreading.
It's the terrorist organization that want to create their own little country in the Middle East.
Most people in Northampton consider themselves to be accepting and understanding of other religions, but when asked about basic principles of Islam, they cannot answer. On the surface, everyone wants to be politically correct, but deep down, staying educated on these issues loses its meaning. The people who we interviewed knew more about the Islamic extremist groups than they did about Islam, and the people that didn't want to be interviewed turned us down because they said they didn't want to embarrass themselves with their lack of knowledge.
Islamophobia appears in the news, video games, TV shows, and even in our education system. What is said in the news and what jokes are made on TV may be out of our control, but education on world religion and cultures is not out of our reach as students and teachers. It is important in schools that students are offered a holistic understanding of current events, so problems like Islamophobia can be avoided. In order to be prepared for the real world, an understanding of people around us is necessary. By offering a world religion class at all high schools, stereotypes about Middle Easterns could be broken down and students could learn to differentiate between Islam and the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. We are fighting a war against terrorists, not Muslims, and before we can reach resolution, we must first understand the difference.
You know, ignorance breeds prejudice.